Hi, everybody. Welcome to my homestead and welcome to my channel. This is going to be comments episode 28. This is simply a continuation of the last video. I'm doing probably a few today. Kind of got behind on responding to comments. I'm sure at some point in the future, I'm probably going to have to discontinue doing these episodes because there's going to be too many to respond to, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video. If you end up liking it, hit the notification bell and leave more comments. We'll do more episodes just like this one. All right, so continuing on. In response to my video, old debris, get rid of it. The second coming is incredibly close. Barbie GC says, I'm embarrassed to say I have a storage unit full of beautiful stuff from before we downsized, and I know I will never need any of it again. So why am I hanging on to it? Listening to you tonight made me realize I've got to get into it and clear away all my debris. There are so many people who could benefit from stuff I'm hanging on to for no reason other than feeling sentimental over stuff. Listening to you tonight struck a chord, and my husband will be thrilled to see it all gone. Yeah, of course, we all know that President Nelson's mostly talking about spiritual debris and like bad habits, but yeah, maybe it wouldn't be bad to get rid of literal debris as well. I try and keep on top of it. We like do yard sales every now and then to try and like get rid of all the clutter, but it's just like it never seems to end. It's just, I don't know, but cool. Well, I'm glad that you're planning on doing that. That's probably a good idea. In response to the Hosanna shout, April 2020, the Millennium, CM Ziabarth, I don't know. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that. Says building temples is one way to help the earth become terrestrial in preparation for the millennium. Totally agree with that. Thanks for the comment. In response to the old debris video, Mia Martin says, thank you for your wonderful testimonies and for being a seeker and teacher of truth, with this emoji. You're welcome. And then she says, in response to my short called Barn Kitten Drinking Water with Chickens, love these short clips. I found your channel through your homesteading videos, smiley face. Good. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. I'm going to stick with the homesteading thing. It's not going to go away. I think there's a lot of people that like the homesteading. I'm hoping to encourage more people to do it just because it's a really beautiful way of life. And especially if you move here to the Midwest, you're going to save a lot of money compared to staying out west and probably other parts of the country. So yeah. In response to my old debris video, Betty Horn says, some people's houses are messier than others, both physically and spiritually. I think I have more of the spiritual clutter to clear out, but I'm working on it. Repentance is key. Correct. I agree. And then she says in response to comments episode 26, it is my understanding that in Jesus' mortal lifetime, in order to be a rabbi, one had to have plural marriages. Not only was Jesus called rabbi, but Rabboni, which I think that's the same thing as rabbi. I don't know. Just something to think about. Yeah, I've not heard that myself. I wouldn't doubt it. I know that there was a time when Judaism practiced plural marriage. The only one of the faiths that still practice it today is Islam. So yeah, that'd be interesting to research a little bit. It makes me think of that one painting that somebody did of Christ, like he's sitting down like in a pretty place and there's like all these beautiful women around him. Oh my gosh. I don't know what that painting is supposed to like mean. I don't know if that just means like Christ loves the women of the church. I don't know if those are supposed to be his wives or like, you know what I'm talking about? Like the first time I saw it, like, even to this day, every time I see that painting, I kind of cringe a little bit. I'm sure that it was the painter's intention to have it be like an inspiring thing, but whatever. Okay, let's move on. In response to comments episode 26, Mia Martine says, awake, awake. And then I don't know what this emoji is. It looks like a bumblebee, airplane, clouds, lightning. I have no idea what that is. Deborah, awake, awake. Judges 5:12. Deborah means bees. Oh, so that is a bee? That's such a weird emoji. Deborah means bees. Interesting that on LDS General Conference podium, there are beehives carved in onto it. It's also fun that my French Ashkenazi Jewish mother's maiden name is Bombas / Bombas, meaning bee. Bumblebee, for my righteous Emily sibling, humble bees, smiley face. The light children of our heavenly parents with this emoji. Well, I know, yeah, that's something that I'd like to maybe study sometime, because it is a symbol in our faith. There's going to be people that are be like, oh, you just got that from the Masons, because it's also a symbol within Masonry. But probably the first instance of it in our religion is with Deseret in the Book of Mormon and in the Book of Ether. But I think there's something to it. I think comments that I've heard about it is it's meant to like give you the sense that we're all one hive. We're all one collective, right? We all work together. We're industrious. And a beehive is also on the flag of the state of Utah. So, and it's also like for the highway signs, like for state roads and stuff like that, it has a beehive. So it is one of the symbols of our faith. In response to the same video, she says, Joseph Smith Foundation has a movie called Hidden Bloodlines. The Grail and the Lost Tribes in the Lands of the North talks about the wedding feast being about Jesus being married to Mary Magdalene and her sister Martha, where if you take note, Jesus' mother Mary was sitting next to the governor, a place of high standing, documenting she was the groom's mother. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all. I think if you're a member of the church, you almost certainly believe that Christ was married during his life. I don't think that's going to shock any member of this church. Maybe other churches, but not ours. And then it probably wouldn't be too great of a shock if he did have plural wives. It wouldn't surprise me. Okay. In response to 11 of 31, the Sister Winnie Nelson challenge, Come Follow Me, which was kind of a big one. It was a pretty loaded talk by President Nelson. Tyler Cragen from The Greatest Cause says, and I'll put that link below so you guys can go subscribe to his channel and check out his work. He says, just in the past 24 hours, I felt a strong sense of spiritual urgency. I don't know what I'm looking for, but I feel the need to be alert and be ready for any prompting or warning. Lately, I feel like God has been testing me on following the Spirit. It's hard to explain in just a YouTube comment, but I think God is trying to get his people ready for what will come. No doubt. I don't say this to be sensational. I truly believe that more major events are to occur shortly. In a certain sense, part of me feels like we have a lot more time before things like Adam-on-Diamond or the Battle of Armageddon. But I also feel like we'll continue to see more and more calamities. Let's hope that we heed the warning voice of the prophets and receive personal revelation for the days to come. Yeah, I would agree. Again, I kind of feel like it's just within the next 5 to 10 years, roughly. Could be sooner, could be later, but I think a lot of us are feeling that it's pretty dang soon. So thanks for your comment. In response to my interview with the last dispensation, Troy Abels, Mia Martine says, Jordan Peterson, Dr. Ramani, and Teal Swan here on YouTube can be very healing from narcissistic, sociopathic, and psychopathic views. They are all very down-to-earth, truth-telling, compassionate teachers that exude pure love and concern for those they teach. That helped me gain control over post-traumatic stress disorder, otherwise known as PTSD. from a childhood I barely survived. And in my unknowingly marrying different versions of my parents, I was told we're most likely sociopaths or psychopaths. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I know Dr. Ramani. I watch her quite a bit. I'm subscribed to her. I'm not familiar with Till Swan. Jordan Peterson. Is he not that one guy that also talks about, I'm gonna look him up really quick. If it's who I'm thinking of, I'm not a big fan of him. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I do not like Jordan Peterson because of his I'm not going to get into it, but other good sources, there's Dr. Les Carter. He is really good. He has a great channel that talks about narcissism. I like listening to Sam Vaknin simply because he's kind of like a lead researcher into narcissism. There's a lot of good ones out there. Thanks for the comment. In response to email from Anonymous, Betty Horn says, how wonderful. Ever since President Nelson spoke of parting the veil and associating with angels, I've been on a quest to better learn how to do this. Anonymous's story gives me hope. Thank you for sharing this. Thanks for your comment. In response to that same video, Mia Martin says, thank you for sharing your testimony. It's a wonderful reminder of how our Heavenly Parents teach, guide, and direct us in the ways that we best understand, with an emoji like that. In response to 11 of 31, the Sister Wendy Nelson challenge, come follow me. Richard Grant says, very impactful and thought-provoking. Great job. And then he puts a Spanish flag, what looks like a pan of paella, and then a stick of bread, which I appreciate because I went to the Spain-Barcelona mission, and let me tell you, I like paella. In fact, Valencia is like one of the big cities for paella, and I was there for 6 months, and it's really good. If you haven't had paella, I would try it out. Make sure to eat it, have it done authentically made, and then eat it. It's really good. Okay. In response to interview with The Last Dispensation, Betty Horn says, I commented on The Last Dispensation's post, but this really hits close to home with me. It explains a lot about something I've been going through lately. Very interesting and helpful. Yeah, once you know about it, your life is kind of like never the same again. In response to my interview with The Greatest Cause, Monty Michelle Wilkinson says, I just watched that Wilcox video yesterday. Yes, it was a good one. I agree. Do something each day to act with purpose. As I am sure most of us have heard, Satan does not need us to commit horrible sins. He just needs us to stop doing the little good things daily. In other words, sins of omission, distraction, etc. Yeah, all he needs us to do is just do nothing, right? Let him be the one that's acting instead of us. In response to second coming from the prophet's point of view, the Greatest Cause says, what's crazy to me is the acceleration of the work. I'm still shocked how many faithful members are seemingly unaware of the prophet's urgency. You and me both. It seems so clear to me that President Nelson knows something that we don't. If I had to guess, I think he knows when Christ will come. That's just a guess, but I think it's correct. Either way, big things are happening, and they will continue to happen until Christ comes. I think it may occur sooner than we realize. While it might not be bad to think we have at least until 2024, I don't want to be caught off guard if Adam Abayaman happens like next year. That's not my prediction, but I think time will fly. Let's try not to get too comfortable in the meantime. Yeah, I mean, let's just always be prepared. It's great to kind of like guess when things might happen or pay attention to the signs of the times, but things really could happen at any time. Just always be prepared. And let's try and help others realize what's being said, because it seems like some of it is going over people's heads, or they're knowingly ignoring it. Let's help them not ignore it. In response to the same video, Betty Horn says, you got me thinking. It is a common line in patriarchal blessings about how we will rise in the morning of the first resurrection. Perhaps there will be people waiting for their work to be done in the millennium so they can be part of that morning. It seems It seems in God's worlds, nothing is done instantaneously, although it could be. Not everyone will be resurrected at the same time, just like mourning takes longer than a moment. Interesting. Yeah, yeah. Let's try and do as much temple work as we can so that those who have accepted the gospel on the other side will be ready to go when it starts happening. It'd be a shame. It's a shame for those that are going to have to wait because we didn't go to the temple. Okay, in response to another first in 2,000 years, Betty Horn says, that is pretty awesome news. And yes, the signs of the times are not limited to our viewpoint as members of the Church of Jesus Christ alone. It encompasses all people. Agreed. In response to the same video, Bob D says, I saw this article this morning. It's happening, getting closer and closer, in my opinion. I feel that if we simply focus on the New Jerusalem and the New World, those of us who are watchers are missing a big part of the signs of the times. We definitely need to also be looking towards Jerusalem, the original Jerusalem, the temple that will be built there, the temple clothing that they have already, the red heifer they are working towards, and so much more. Thanks for sharing for all of us to be aware of. Yes, we are getting closer and closer. We are the children of light. Keep your eyes open. And when he says children of light, I think he's referring to where those that are children of darkness, it's in the New Testament. I can't remember exactly where, but it talks about how if you're children of the light, the second coming is not going to come upon you as a thief because you're going to be watching. You're going to be aware of the season and the time that you're in. Whereas those in darkness, it's going to blindside them. It's just one day things are going to be, life is going to be as normal. They're going to be marrying and giving in marriage and doing all their stuff. And just like the flood, suddenly it's going to come upon them and it's going to be too late. In response to second coming from the prophet's point of view, Sam Lee says, there's a nearly total eclipse this upcoming Friday, November 11th, 2021, and it's supposed to last a long time. Apparently the longest lasting eclipse in 500 plus years. Yeah, my next video I'm going to do is going to be about that. And then another comment from Sam Lee from the same video. I'm not sure about the order of operations, but I feel that the Constitution will be saved by the priesthood and will be the new governing body for people to turn for hope. That would very well explain the mass number of temples being built for what's to come. A large number of baptisms as people come to the realization that this is truly the kingdom of God here on earth. That would also be an extraordinary event to witness. I would question being more remarkable than the time of Moses. Wink. I think this will be the beginning of the second coming, which will carry out in multiple stages. There are tons of people today who continue living their day-to-day lives and have no clue how seriously in trouble the state of our country is in. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see. I really feel like, and I think a lot of people feel like President Oaks is probably going to play a hand in that because of his legal background and his previous profession. So in response to the same video, Green Tree says, I'm trying to post a comment here and it is getting vanished every time within seconds. Why is that? Am I in some kind of filter? Look, I get this from time to time. Oh yeah, I responded to you. And then you said I was trying to invite people to Discord. Well, there you go. There is a filter. I don't know exactly what YouTube filters out, but I imagine that inviting people to Discord, like if you're putting links and stuff like that to other websites, it's probably going to be filtered out. I get a lot of spam on my channel, like to these links to pornography sites and stuff like that. And I think YouTube is just trying to cut down on spam and stuff like that. So it's not me that's deleting it. So just be aware. And it doesn't even necessarily have to have a link. It doesn't seem like, because I'm pretty sure I've heard from somebody saying they were just trying to put something and then it was deleted. So that's just how it goes. If you ever have anything to say to me and it gets deleted, just email me. My email address is my.christian.homestead@gmail.com. In response to second coming from the prophet's point of view, Ron Parkinson says, great thoughts. I've been pondering the same things a lot lately. The emphasis on the second coming has been in many talks for the last 3 or 4 years. 2024 is going to be a crucial year. I'm not sure if it will be the beginning or the end or very close to it. I hope that shortly after the second eclipse, we will at least be a Zion in translating people and building up the New Jerusalem. Very exciting next few years ahead of us. Yeah, I would agree. I would totally agree. In response to the same video, Dave C says, I was always taught that there will be lots of temple work during the millennium. Yeah, there will be, because obviously there's people that there's just no record of them at all. You can only go back so far, and then it gets to the point where like the only people that have any record of their lineage is like wealthy people. So somehow in some way, we're going to get those records, or we're going to find out about those people. I don't know how it's going to work, but everyone will get a fair chance. And unfortunately, they're probably going to have to wait longer, I guess, to be resurrected. In response to the same video, Cheryl Baldry says, listening to the comments about being a Zion people, I understand all of this. Sounds wonderful to live in harmony and peace. What are your thoughts on women that are not married to a priesthood holder? I don't believe my husband will ever join the church. Kind of thinking back to our lesson in D&C last week on the everlasting marriage covenant. A lot of women that are in the same situation as me wonder what happens to us. I've been told that I have been told when I've asked, well, Heavenly Father is not going to throw you to the side or something like that. This is a family designed church, and sometimes we feel like a third wheel left out of a few things in the church activities. Sometimes I think of emailing our prophet or apostles and ask this question because I never get a satisfying answer from our bishop and counselors. I think they may be hesitant to answer. What are your thoughts? Well, okay. I have a couple thoughts. For one thing, we know that there's a portion of the celestial kingdom where, and I think it's by choice, if you so choose, you'll be in the celestial kingdom, but you'll be single forever. I don't know who's going to make that choice. I think there's people that just for all eternity, they're not going to be married, but it's going to be by choice. As for you, in that kind of situation, it's kind of hard, but I'm just going to be brutally honest. Well, for one, who knows? Maybe when your husband passes away, maybe at that point it will still be possible for him to accept the gospel. But more likely than not, I would think that either you can remain single, but I would also imagine that you'd have the opportunity to remarry, to marry someone that is in the same situation, because it's not just going to be women that are married to someone that, okay, so you're married to someone that's not a member of the church, and there's other people that are married to members of the church, but people who are not going to make it to the celestial kingdom, both men and women. So I'm assuming that for people that have a spouse that don't make it to the celestial kingdom, but you yourself qualify, you'll probably be able to find somebody else in the same situation that will be able to take you to the celestial kingdom. I do also think that there's going to be plural marriage. I tend to think that there's probably going to be more women in this situation than men, simply because men are generally scumbags and not as good as women. And I think that that's just the nature of it. I think it's like an eternal ratio of righteous men to righteous women. I think that there tends to be more righteous women than righteous men. So it may be that either if you don't find someone else in the same situation, you might join a family where there's a husband that already has another wife. And I know that's like, it's not kind of harsh sounding. It's not the most pleasant thing to think, but I think that after this life, we're going to have a much better perspective, and we're going to look back on this life for what it really was, it was just a very extremely short moment in time. You know, um, it's like being in kindergarten. I don't think it's even being like being in kindergarten. I think like this is like being in preschool. Like, do you look back to your school days and uh, look at it the same way that you did then? Probably not. I don't give a crap what I did back in kindergarten. At the time, it seemed very serious, right? Because that's all that you know, and you're in the middle of it. But like once you get past that point and you look back, it's like kind of inconsequential. And I'm not saying that this life isn't consequential, but there's going to be certain things where, as we progress into eternity, I think that we're going to move past a lot of those not so great aspects of life and things that happen. So I don't know. I hope that helps you out in some way. I feel like you would still be able to have a happy social marriage, but it may have to be with somebody else. I don't think that the Lord would take that away from you simply because your husband doesn't, um, choose to join the church. So thanks for your comment. Um, in response to another first in 2,000 years, Arith Litharaga Ulascoaga says, wow. And then he says, in response to a different video, second coming from the prophet's point of view, when Jesus was saying, I come quickly, he meant it. He wasn't speaking figuratively. He was plain and as literal as he could be. I'll explain myself. He meant it for a specific generation, the generation that sees the signs, us. The generation that sees the rebirth of the nation of Israel, the one that sees haters of good without natural affection, LGBT pride, in parentheses, disobedient to parents. It is clearly this generation. Yeah, I think you're right. And a lot of Christians, they talk about this generation being the fig tree generation. It's based on Christ talking about the fig tree. Excuse me, like when you see the fig tree start to show signs, like start to sprout leaves or whatever, this generation, all these things will come to pass before the end of this generation. Or I'm just paraphrasing, but yeah, I agree. I'm going to end it here. Thank you all for your comments. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video. If you liked it, hit the notification bell, leave more comments. We'll do more episodes just like this one, and I'll talk to you guys later.